It is Matt Mosley's show right here on Rogue Media Network, and pleased to be with you. And we're an hour early, and I was inspired to make this change based on, I've got some things to attend to with my daughter in College Station, where she's a freshman, and Scotty's always extremely flexible. And I've also observed my good friend Pete Sousa, because of being called away and having to all sorts of Big 12 type shows and duties. Occasionally he'll have to change the time of his show. And so I don't really think I have permission to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and just take liberties today because I'm in good company. And I'm excited. I mean, there's a lot to share and there's a lot to react to. And we've got college games to talk about. We got a big game tomorrow. Unfortunately, everything about Baylor has been about other stuff. And I do have a pregame TV. Scotty does too. And Pete's going to be part of it as well. We need to actually dig in at some point on these Utah Utes. But they're obviously that has not been the story leading up to this game. And both Scotty and I always like to welcome Scotty into the show. And today, right off the top, a man who's just done a tremendous hour and a half of his show. And he has been so generous and kind to stick around because I always love having him on. Pete Sousa from the Pete Sousa Show and ESPN and all the various platforms has stayed with us. So there they are in the beautiful Rogue Studios. And guys, throughout this process, Pete, welcome in. And both you too, Scotty. Thanks for always love having both of you guys on.
Oh, it's great to be here, dude. I've been dying to do this. And, the schedule doesn't permit as often as I'd like. But I asked Scotty, I said, tell Mosley I'd love to hop on with him. I'm going to be in the studio for a few hours. So here we are.
Yeah. And Scotty likes it when I am in the studio, Pete, because I tend to, I don't know. I even become more animated. The excitement of having one, even if just Lizzie's in the room, the excitement of having a bit of a studio audience. It's exciting. In fact, I'm going to do more shows. I'd like to put some seating, more couches, and maybe some, what do you call those, stands or a stanchion, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Bleachers.
I'd like to have some bleachers in the studios. And people could come in there and be a part of the Mosley Show or the Sousa Show. Yeah.
Now, Matt, that means we either need to install said bleachers at your house, or you've got to actually come to work and come into the Rogue Studios with us sometimes.
I don't think that's fair that he says you have to come to work. You're not working right now.
I did not like that.
Mosley knows I'm joking, Pete.
Yeah.
I did not like that. I didn't turn up. Yeah. Yesterday, and I thought maybe it's just the breaking news nature of this. And I can't remember. There was just a lot going on. And I was getting crazy hot. And I'm like, what's going on? Am I getting the sweats? And then I realized this is that time of year. And everybody does it in their home where it's like 65 or 70 or whatever. And it's weird time. And then sometimes it'll get cold at night. And so I try to take advantage of it and turn no air or heat on. I'm just saving money in the house. And then I realized it had gotten a little warm yesterday. I mean, Scotty doesn't know it, Pete, but he almost lost me. I was like, dang, am I about to pass out? What's happening? I usually can react to breaking news okay. Why am I getting so worked up? But anyway, I was just sweating. And I had to do blood work a couple of days ago for my physical. And that drives me. I once there at one of the cinemas in Waco that Scotty would know, right down Valley Mills. There used to be a couple of, not the 14 Galaxy, that was a newer one, but there was an old one down on Bosque or maybe Lake Air. There were a couple of theaters there. There was one theater in particular, and I saw Bram Stoker's Dracula. They call him Dracula. And I can't remember who was in that. Maybe I don't know. I don't know who was in that movie, but there was a blood transfusion scene, and my buddies looked over, and I was passed out in the theater.
Really?
I was just killed over, just out. I turned completely white. Yeah, I'm not. I don't do well.
Keanu Reeves was in that. Keanu Reeves was in that.
Did a good job in that.
Yeah,
did a
okay.
good job. I thought one of his top roles, he's known more for the stuff with Lawrence Fishburne and all that stuff. But I thought the
It's
replacement.
called The Matrix. Yeah.
I thought he did. That's right. When you're over 50, Scotty, it just is. You just describe people.
Hey, listen, that's one of my dad's favorite movies, and he's in his 60s.
Oh my gosh, he is advanced age. No, your dad. I bet he's a very spry man. Pete, it's fun anytime I can have you, and so you got to watch it with me because, of course, then I'm so excited to have you, but then I end up talking the entire time. So I do want to interact and get a few thoughts for you. Nothing really new on the. I mean, all of us, I would say combined. Let's do it. Let's do an estimate. Sure. How many combined text messages or calls? Because this has warranted. Most of my buddies usually just text me. We don't do the social. We're not trying to snap or do any kind of Facebook instant. It's all text, right? Or group text. I'm on some group text. How many between the three of us? How many calls / text messages? Because Pete, you've been in Central Texas for a good long while now, and so you have a lot of great friends here. And then you also have people outside that know your connections with Baylor. If I had to guess, I bet we've received over 100 text messages combined, the three of us, or calls on this Mac Rhodes Baylor story.
I agree. I think you're first, Scotty's second, and I'm third.
If you're talking individual text, I've received over 100 myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If you're just talking like conversations, it's obviously significantly less. But I've swapped a lot of text.
And I'll tell you, for me, as somebody who works now at Rogue Media and does Big 12 and ESPN stuff, but was on the local news in this market, I've had people texting me with actual people. Just like you have, man, and Scotty too, providing me information more so than asking.
Yep.
Which I find interesting.
I have this one guy that's pretty, he's very much high ranking, not in administration, but just a Baylor type person. And this drives me nuts. And boy, Pete, about this in the reporting game when you're trying to get stories and all. The thing that drives you nuts is the people, The way it works is, for people that don't know, you sort of have to give some information sometimes to get information. You can't just always call people like, tell me give me the scoop. People like to have you bring them some information, and then they'll in turn give. What drives me nuts, and I've got a buddy like this, and he's like and he's awesome. He's a great friend, but he's like, what are you hearing on this? Blah 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 blah. And I'll kind of, here's what I'm hearing. Here's what's going on. And then he won't give me anything. He's like, well, I can't say. I know, but I can't say. I'm like, that's not how it works. This is a two-way street here. And so it's been, but personally, I have to say, Pete, you've seen over the years, and Scotty, you too, I've had Mac on a ton. I said this yesterday. He used to go on with Smokey and him weekly. I always thought that was too much. Like, do I really need to have the AD on every single week? That seemed like too much. But whenever I needed him, he was there. It's been weird this fall to not be able to get him on. And I've wondered, I'm like, what is going on? This is so strange. And now I kind of have a better feel for maybe why that was happening. Now, I was led to believe it was because of some stupid tweet I put out that made some people at administration mad. And yes, Scotty, I get on to you sometimes, not that much, but I do kind of give you feedback occasionally. I had to get on to Cam. Drake was beyond hope because, there are repercussions with some of the tweets we put out, some of the things, and that's okay. That's okay. That's the way it works. You can't just, and I tried to have this conversation with Drake back in the day, you can't just rip somebody constantly and not think that there might be repercussions from that. So anyway, but now that, yes. But now that we know, it's like, no, they were keeping Mac from talking because they knew. And again, I'm not even saying they were hiding anything. I don't think I would have been racing out there with this trig news like, hey, let's tell everybody that our AD went after a player before a game and after a game. But I think, and Pete, I want to bounce this off of you, and then I want to hear your thought on this. I think that's what's going to get Mac. Sadly, that's what I think it's going to be almost impossible to come back from. Is that I think whatever transgression, and we're hearing he violated something that goes against Baylor's Christian principles and whatever in the handbook. And I think most of us kind of can start to let our imaginations and even our reporting know what that might be. I think Baylor's enough of a, hopefully grace is still a part of what they do. I think alone he might be able to survive on some kind of transgression that didn't involve like a Baylor employee or student athlete or something like that. I think the problem for Mac is you've got the trig, you've got the coach. That all happened in one episode. Now you got the allegations of alleged verbal abuse in the workplace, and then you're out. And you're out on this leave of absence, Pete, when Baylor's got all these huge decisions to make. You have a coach that may get fired. And as I said yesterday, and I think Scotty kind of agreed, and I think you guys had hit on it too yesterday, I think the way I phrased it is Dave Aranda caught a break here. Dave Aranda absolutely has caught a break. And maybe he was going to save himself and they were going to win 3 games or something. But it really is hard to find a scenario now where President Livingstone just goes, well, I'm going to fire him while we have interim ADs and while we're also launching an AD search. It does not seem like the prudent thing to do is to fire a head coach now. Pete, now that you've had, and I know you've talked about this on your show today too, but you've had like 24 hours or 48 hours to let this marinate, think through this. Do you see any scenario where Mac Rhodes survives this?
Man, it took you a while, but of course you finished with a great question. Because that's a great question. I mean, and I said it yesterday, and you know how I am. I hate saying this, but yeah, I don't really think so. If I had to guess, this 4-week scenario is lawyers getting involved and sorting out, because we're talking about a lot of money, re-upped for 10 years in 2022, reportedly at more than $3 million a year. Like, you got to get a lot of cooks in the kitchen to sort all that out. And you know that Baylor will do right by him. But as far as someone who's going to lead your university's athletic department, it's hard, man. And I hate this for Mac. I really liked Mac, and he and folks at Baylor were instrumental to my career kind of reaching another level. So this whole situation stinks, like you said, Matt. I mean, it's just not. It's close to home for a lot of us, and I don't see him surviving this, though. I don't. Yeah. I do see for him the opportunity for getting away, getting things in order, and then reemerging somewhere else, and flourishing in another chapter. But I would think his work at Baylor is finished. And I'll say this too. I mentioned this on my show today, Matt. I went through a whole laundry list of reasons why. Once you get away from this dark cloud that is over your university right now, you look at Mac Rhodes, and I'm not at all authoring an obituary here. I'm responding to a question. But if he were to be finished, he left this athletic department in way better shape than he found it, like way better. So I think you can look at that, and I don't know if you want to find some kind of silver lining. I'm sure Mac's not looking for that right now, but maybe as a Baylor fan, you can look at the body of work and say, you know what? He certainly did a hell of a job. But he missed on some stuff like all athletic directors do. But I mean, there's, you got 2 national titles, right? Men's and women's basketball. He had to navigate a lot of the drama with Kim. God bless her. But he did that. He kept Scott Drew here when I don't think there were many athletic directors in the world who could have pulled that off. I really think Mac was instrumental in that. I think the work he did to find Nikki Collin on the back end of letting Kim kind of move on in a different direction was super special. But a lot of people
hold that against him, by the way. I mean, the fact that not to Collin. I mean, I love Nikki. I've got no issue there. I'm saying the fact that, a legendary, unbelievable 3-time winning national championship coach was allowed to walk, and was not just allowed to walk. He was absolutely ready for her to walk. I mean, I just want to point out that was
Yes.
I think that would be considered by a lot of people a black mark against what he did at Baylor. But anyway,
and maybe you're right about that. Maybe he's making that amount of money it's his job to find a way to make that work. But man, there were a lot of folks on the inside who were ready for that change to take place. And I'm not like breaking any news there. And the hiring of Matt Rule was critical to resurrecting not only the football program, but the athletic department in general. And then, the MAC hire goes to Dave. I mean, you can say what you want about Dave, but you get another Big 12. You get actually a Big 12 championship and a Sugar Bowl victory. So he's left this place better than he found it. And it's
that's a bad. Yeah. I mean, Aranda looks like a bad hire at this point, though. Would you not agree with that?
I don't think he was a bad hire. I think that the decision should have been made a year and a half ago to probably part ways. I think it was a good hire, but I think when it was time to go, Mac didn't say, okay, you can go. And this is where I think that, Matt, some of the interesting behavior starts to present itself, where it's like Dave comes with a binder, presents it to Mac. Hey, here's what I'll do if you let me stay. And then what kind of deal did Dave make with Mac that, okay, if you stay, you've got this kind of unlimited access? Because you could, I'm not over here like I invented football, but I've been around it for a long time. An athletic director in the middle of a offense as they get ready to take the field in a nationally televised college football game on a major level like that, where he can put his hands on a player, is unheard of. So there's a lot of peculiar stuff that started. I think probably longer than, and I always say this, there's the people who really know what's going on are the people inside that building right now. Yeah, there are some, there's some sources and some people come up with some stuff and folks like you, but like at the end of the day, we don't really even know everything that's going on. We'll find out. And that was my issue. One more thing, and I give you credit for this, Mosley, because we were talking this morning. The local media has failed. I believe has failed this market and folks that follow Baylor. And here's what I mean: like you and I are not. No, I've never been in the news breaking business. I never pretended like I was. I love to react to the news, but I love breaking news coverage, and I think it behooves us to get coverage out of our local media resources. You were always good at that. Like you could take Scott or Mac or somebody to task and maybe they get pissed, but you're an example of, if you do your job, you're not persona non grata. It's a back and forth. I think a lot of folks tiptoed around this issue and situation locally here where there should have been stories written or TV stories aired that maybe it's a lack of resources or experience or talent or whatever, but we didn't get that. This was a huge story last Friday, and Baylor, to their credit, was transparent and said everything that was going on. That was so strange when that Michael Trigg stuff actually broke. The fact that we didn't hear anything else about that until another complaint was filed and that was surfaced, like through Ross Dellinger, is I think it's a bummer for folks that follow Baylor. I think the local media and media around the school needs to do better. And I don't think it's a viable excuse to say, well, if somebody were to break this story, Baylor wouldn't allow them back in or to cover the team. That is not true. Those folks over there at Baylor do a great job, in my opinion, the PR people, that you would be allowed credentialed access so long as you're fair like you've been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, the access, I can defend them a little bit in the department of, I don't really want to get into the whole media thing, but it's interesting because you've been in the local media and you've watched it. And
10 years ago, Matt, that story is broken.
Oh, I know, but it's just
broken by a local media.
Even like Todd Archer, who covers the team so great, like the Cowboys, it's always like Schefter or the local great coverage of the NBA teams in the league you were in. It's always like, shams, even though these people are constantly covering the team. Unfortunately, sadly, beat writing now is about, for young beat writers, and it used to not be like this. Like, I'll tell you, when I got the greatest stuff ever is because Parcells' coaches hated him so much, his assistant coaches, and they weren't allowed to talk. And so who are they going to talk to? Well, they were going to find a reporter at some point. Now, that was when I was really young, and I was very, very aggressive. And I used to be too aggressive. I would show up at press conference, and I would joust, and I was a little bit, and that's honestly, I give Drake a hard time. But like one thing I always praise Drake on, I mean, he made some mistakes, but at age 22, he was showing up at press conference, like trying to like go at people. Now, the problem was he probably wasn't. When you go at people and you're willing to ask questions and you kind of have that fearless way about you, you then have to show up at everything else and give those people a chance to come back at you. And that's part of reporting and all. But again, I would say the access these days is so bad. Like, for instance, it was way easier because like I could talk to Art or Rule or any of these people. Obviously, Scott and I have a great long relationship. Like Dave, that's one of Dave's issues. He's cut himself off from so many people. But anyway, that's a whole nother issue. I
think that's more Dave though than the athletic department.
Yes, but where they failed Dave is by coddling him too much. And like the previous, and it's not even, I'm not even saying the PR people really, it's people even above them, okay, that make the policies. Dave has been coddled. There was one of my buddies that was PR, Taylor Bryan was on the football, and like Dave was trying to be all squirrely. And like Taylor would be like, no, you got to do Mosley. You got to do. I mean, some of this is selfish. Some of this is totally selfish by me. For years, I got the guy, and then maybe Smokey would get him, and then we suddenly had to trade off each week, and then it just got worse and worse until the point where literally there was a decision that Dave made one time. Dave Rando's like, I just would rather talk to. I would rather talk to J-Mo. Could I talk to J-Mo rather than Mosley? And which they should have said, no, do your job, do your radio. This is the flagship radio. We shouldn't be telling them who gets to interview you. But again, they bent over backwards to try to help this guy, and they will continue to do so. Okay, a lot of ground to cover right there. Boy, I appreciate this, Pete. I got to look at my time here. I've kept you already too long. Last thing here, we got to turn. I mean, at some point, this is going to go on, I'm afraid, like you said. I think
there's a game Saturday at 6:00, and it's against the 13th ranked team in the country.
I know, but it's just it is. We've had things like this in the past, and Scotty brought it up, and it was a good point that he made yesterday. Those of us that lived through the scandal, remember, like, even when you would come to a Baylor game that next season, and they had all those Brazos staffers, there was a shadow over everything. And tomorrow night is going to be the same way. There's going to be the shadow. Now, maybe this coaches, and this is the silver lining part, Pete. This is where I lead it right back into where your mind goes, which I love, by the way, because you kind of find some silver linings and stuff, and I like that about you. I think one of Dave Aranda's superpowers is that he really he can be everybody out there, fire Dave. They could be marching at the stadium, and he would kind of show up and go, hey, guys, what's going on? What's there, something going on out here? Right? And
he is all about ball. He is 100% focused on that.
And so he really has probably been in a bunker. And in terms of like us, like, what's Dellinger said? What has this person said? What's this person tweeted? What's Mosley and Pete saying? What's Scotty saying? No. He doesn't get sucked into that at all. So there'll be a game plan. Now, the thing is, as you know, and you talk to the voice of the Utes.
Yeah.
Some of the things that Utah does well is the quarterback can run. He's athletic. They can run the football. They're not big shot plays, explosive plays, but they will move that ball down the field, and they will score some points on you. So while they only have one, count them one, top 35 win this season, this is a really, really good football team with a great coach. Do I think they're going to come in here and wipe up the Bears? Maybe not. Maybe the Bears can make this thing interesting. What's your gut telling you as we get closer to kickoff here?
Well, real quickly, just from somebody from 30,000 feet that didn't go to Baylor and doesn't have the same like blood ties that you guys have. I don't think that this is that. Like, I don't think that I think that this incident, and I'm not saying that you're inferring, but I do want to state, like, I don't think that this incident, what's going on right now with Baylor and their athletic department, is anywhere near close to what happened, 10, 12 years ago.
No. Pete,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but the same atmosphere is going to be at this game. All of the Baylor people are only thinking about this crazy Mac thing. They're not thinking about.
And by the way, it doesn't help that the atmosphere at the previous 2 home games was the fire the coach atmosphere.
It's for one game. It's for one game and maybe another, but it's not going to hang over like to next season. That's my feeling, and I'm sure it might be yours too. I can't speak for you. As far as the game is concerned, look. Utah's really good. I mean, they're analytically, they're the second or they're the best 2-loss team in the country. And offensively up front, the thing about what Baylor cannot afford to do, and that's why the UCF game was encouraging, was that they got off to a fast start. They can't get down early to this Utah team because, they call that, the Wasatch Mountains. Well, they call their offensive line the Wasatch Front because their left tackle is going to be a first-round pick. The right tackle is going to be a top 10 pick, the kid Spencer Fano. And if you get down to Utah, they're just going to run the ball and not like purposely melt the clock, but they are built for this time of year to win. And now we're talking a little more NFL, right, with the playoffs, but to win in November, December, like they can win a rock fight against a lot of teams around college football. So Baylor does not want to get behind Utah because as good as Sawyer Robertson is, and let's not go to sleep on him, by the way. It's not like Sawyer Robertson has entered some chamber where he's not the dynamic guy that, we were so excited about to start the year. So I still expect him to possibly set off some fireworks, but he's going to have to do it against the best passing defense, I think, in the Big 12 and one of the best passing defenses in the country. So Baylor cannot afford to get behind against these guys because I think that could spell disaster. But if it's at the end of the fourth quarter or first quarter and it's 7-7 or maybe Baylor's up 10-7, I think they're right there. This is definitely a doable thing. Like when you look around the conference, Texas Tech is favored by 23.5 points at home against UCF. This is not that. Baylor's a 7.5 point underdog. They can win this football game.
Very okay. I'm starting to. I think as I get there and we start getting on TV and we do the thing, I'm going to get more into the game and all of that. And we're not going to make the green and gold game day about all this MAC stuff. I mean, we can't. That would be weird to do a pregame show on all this other and stuff. And it gets more and more. I just hate. I hate it. I hate it where it's headed, and I hate it that this guy's career is probably over. Pete, your day has come to an end at Rogue. But
by the way,
man,
I don't think his career's over. I think he's got to. This is a turning point for this guy as a man. Whatever is going on with him, he's got a little mea culpa, whatever. Look in the mirror, make some changes, and there's a second act for Mac Rhodes, but he's going to have to make some. There's going to have to be some heavy lifting done. I don't think his career's over.
Yeah, maybe as a consultant or something, but he's not. Nobody. Yeah. He's not going to be back in like. I don't think anybody would hire him to be an AD after this. I mean, it's just this is. Out there. I know, and maybe Liberty, if Liberty opens up.
Man.
There is precedent.
Yeah, there is precedent.
Yeah. That's right. Maybe he'll live. Although, yeah, okay. Pete, thank you, man. And I hope I can't wait to kind of see what your basketball schedule looks like. They'll get you back up there.
Sunday, Mississippi State, Iowa State, in Sioux Falls. Iowa State is good. Very good.
Oh, how is that venue? Was that fun? Was that a pretty neat place? Cool. The Pentagon or whatever it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, old school feel. Looks like the Hoosiers gym, but it was built in 2013. So it's got all the amenities. Super cool. It was jam-packed, standing room only. I was lucky to be there, but Mississippi State was not lucky. Their best player, one of their best players was out, and they got I hate this term, but they got boat raced. Iowa State's good. Iowa State's defense is awesome. Yeah.
You know, by the way, I was thinking about something you said about the journalism coverage of this thing. Somebody, Pete and Scotty, on that field that night with Trigg was sitting there giving out kick. And it's good reporting. I mean, they did a good job. but I mean, blow by blow. And of course, Baylor didn't dispute any of it. When Baylor didn't push back on that report, you're like, dang it, they got him.
You said that on your show yesterday, and I thought that was illuminating, that Baylor did not challenge anything that has been anything in that report, which again is kind of a credit to Baylor. Like, they're not like, they kind of know how to navigate.
Yeah. Although the only thing negative I'll say, their first instinct was to try to make Mac. It's like, maybe they were able to review the video. Somebody's first instinct after all that happened in that deal was to try to make Trigg go apologize to Mac. Like, I did not like that at all. Somebody brought it to their attention and they looked at it, and it was they maybe saw the whole thing and were like, okay, no, Mac should be apologizing. But I did not like that initial feeling from whoever was down, and anyway, I've tried to, kind of even talk to people that were down there. Can you imagine a coach putting your hands on as you said, that's that right there. I mean, this other stuff, listen, if this other stuff that we're hearing about happened at Texas or Texas A&M, as long as it wasn't somebody on campus or a subordinate, somebody that reports to them or a student athlete or something like that, man, that would not be a thing. Yeah. But now, on that one, somebody did turn Mac in, right? Somebody, once this Trigg thing happened and more people, Mac gets a big target on him, and somebody from the outside or maybe from the inside said, hey, by the way, guess what Mac's been up to? That was called into Baylor. And then Baylor is like, what are they going to do? Like, well, we're going to ignore this? No, you can't. You can't, okay? They've been down that road before. Scotty brought that up yesterday. Okay, Pete, sorry. I really love having you.
Yeah, great to be
here.
So
I tried to grab you. Okay, have a tremendous rest of your day, okay? And I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay. Pete Sousa, a man who, if you don't get out of if you don't leave the studio, you never know. You may have Mosley try to wrangle you in, and very, very kind of him to spend some time with Scotty and me on this busy Friday. Okay, Scotty, you and I do some Campus Confidential. We'll talk about a few games and get folks ready for the weekend on this special early edition of the Matt Mosley Show right here at Rogue Media Network. Remember, if you're watching us on Twitter, which yesterday, numbers were really starting to soar out there on Twitter, we want to remind you to go over and sign up for the YouTube channel. In fact, that number is kind of creeping up there, and I like to see it. I'm gonna learn some of Pete's. Pete knows how to drive the numbers of the Pete Sousa Show. We'll try to do that over here on the Mosley Show, but we appreciate all the people who've been with us, especially during this chaotic time in Baylor athletics. We'll talk about some of these weekends' game of the college and NFL level next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety,
so you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Baylor Nation rolls along with Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Start with award-winning service and factory-trained techs. Then shop our new and used lineup. From cars, trucks, to SUVs, all makes and models. Running a business? We're your Central Texas headquarters for ProMaster vans, cabin chassis, and work trucks. For power and comfort, test drive the Ram 1500, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year winner again. Allen Samuels in Waco, proud partner of Baylor Athletics.
Come by, let's be friends.
Everybody at Equalife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Mosley to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MOSLEY. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
All right, Mosley Show, Underdog, not just something we talk about, something I play just about every single day. Last chance to get on board with the college football picks for this weekend. I have never felt better about an Underdog submission. Pete gave me a hard time for using a different word this morning. An Underdog submission than I do about this one. Starting with Ruben Owens, you hear Matt Mosley every week just gushing about his Texas A&M Aggies. Well, I got to cover Ruben for 2 years in high school. Outstanding kid. He's had a breakout season for A&M. He's now their lead back. He will score a touchdown. So higher than half a rushing or receiving touchdown for Rube. Darian Mensah, very quietly, one of the best quarterbacks in college football for Duke. They will upset Virginia tomorrow and take him for over 229.5 passing yards. Wayshawn Parker, 2 consecutive games, over 100 yards on the ground. Listen, Baylor's rush defense, they're not going to hold them under 55.5. Take the higher on that one. And then Sawyer Robertson, If Bears win, lose, or draw, Sawyer's slinging touchdowns. It is what it is. He's had at least 2 touchdowns in 4 consecutive games. Take him higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. And remember, when you sign up for Underdog, use that promo code Mosley. $5 you put in, you'll have 55 in your account. Why? Because they'll give you $50 bonus cash just for using that code. And by the way, if you use that code, it helps out the Mosley Show. So just play some free Underdog on their watch, and courtesy of the Matt Mosley Show. Matt, I'm going to let you fix your camera before I throw it back to you, because right now I think I'm staring at your desk. You know, sometimes these automatic moving cameras, they forget where to go. And now with an adjusted camera, there it is. We want to see your face, Mosley.
I don't know. Oh, I think what happens is I was looking down at my phone and the camera followed me down there. It's a very active camera. Boy, getting text messages, and I mean, I've heard from my attorney buddies today, everybody weighing in on this thing, and just so many friends and everybody. And unfortunately, Scotty, it's interesting because not that we would, I hope that didn't come across that way. You know, Pete was kind of trying to make sure to point out that this was unlike the scandal of 10 years ago. And I would hope that would be very, very obvious that it's not that. But I think what I was getting at, Scotty, and I think you would agree, is the atmosphere. You just remember the weirdness of all of that. And half of the people at the game were like honoring they're like wearing CAB stuff, right? Coach Art Briles. And it was like, there was just this whole nother thing that was happening at those games that had really almost nothing to do with what was on the field. It was almost like in protest of the way the thing had ended. And I think tomorrow, I don't know, this is sort of overshadowing everything. And I have had people say, and I tell them, Scotty, I'm like, well, we have a short, or we have a show from yesterday that addresses this. I'll have people like, what does this mean for Aranda? And I don't think it's a brilliant deduction to come to the conclusion that Aranda has maybe caught a break here. I mean, you can say a lot about Dave, but Dave's not, he's an upstanding person. I mean, I guess honestly these days, Scotty, unfortunately, and that's a good lesson also. And I even have found myself wanting to say to some of my buddies who are like big donors and everything, just be careful. Like, it's fine to love our school and want to help our school and all, but I do think people that give a huge amount of money, they like the access, they like all the things that come with that, but they also become like, very close to the powers that be or the administrators and all that. And suddenly you become part of the whole process. What is the weird thing about NIL and portal? It's that like people like Cody Campbell at Texas Tech become basically owners. I mean, who's the owner of Texas Tech? It's him. When you talk about Texas Tech athletics, he acts, now he may not be the GM because he's not as active as like Jerry is on telling you who to go bring in. But when it comes to like funding all of this, he absolutely behaves like an owner. And I think a lot of people are hurting because like on one hand, and that's why it brings back those Briles memories, because I remember what it was like, Scotty, to be friends with Art, and yet Art's being accused of overseeing a program that was involved with all these awful things. And it's like, how do you want to be there for people through thick and thin, but you're also like paid to be on the air, like discussing this. And I remember thinking, you can't come across at that time looking like you're defending someone who's being made out to be like evil and overseeing a program that's being attacked for, sexual assault scandal. Again, some of these things, and again, just to be clear, in case anybody's wondering, no, these two things are not alike. The only thing that's alike is that as Baylor people and people that cover the team and have been around the team and have loved the program for years, Scotty and I were born into this. Scotty's been since the time Scotty could remember a ball game. So let's say the last 27 years, this has been his lot in life. For me, it would be the last 46 years of my life. Because in 1979, when they went to the Peach Bowl, I remember being at Danny Terry's house, my best friend, and us jumping around the room watching the Peach Bowl in freaking 1979 in Atlanta, Georgia, against probably Clemson. I think that game was against Clemson. And Mike Singletary and Andrew Mellontree and Radar Holt and Brandon, the quarterback. I mean, those things are indelible in our memories. But we can't help but, like, when there's scandal that hits, what do? We flash back to all these other scandals. I covered the Bliss scandal of 2003 for the Dallas Morning News. In fact, that's what led to me. I covered that scandal, and then literally like 5 weeks later, they're like, oh, go to training camp in San Antonio. You're covering the Cowboys now. Okay. That was Bill Parcells' first year with the Dallas Cowboys. But anyway, it's hard to cover these things without having all these flashbacks. And so what we try to do is bring you what I don't want to do, I heard Pete say something, Scotty, that was interesting. He said, I know I'm not Baylor blood like you guys. And I do sometimes think we make people think like that, Scotty. We don't mean to, but we do kind of have this attitude like, well, you don't know. You didn't grow up with all this. You didn't come up this way. I mean, like even Mac and Jeremiah and Jovan and a lot of these people who didn't go to Baylor, we sometimes have this feeling of like, well, do these people have the proper institutional knowledge that we all have? And the thing is, they can do a great job without all that. But it does go through our minds as Baylor people. And I think sometimes we make people feel like, well, you're not part of the family. And so I try not to do that. But we are so Baylor through and through that it's hard sometimes. And I do think when there's scandal and when others are laughing at us, and we can do one of two things, Scotty. We either circle the wagons and we go, hey, we all we got is each other, or we do what Baptists really do well, and we just kind of turn on each other, right? And in the Brazos thing, some of that happened because you got some people are like, Brazos is evil, and then you have some people over here saying Brazos didn't do anything wrong. And the truth was like somewhere more toward the middle. I mean, he probably could have done more to not have all that stuff, to bring in better people into his program. But then he wasn't like going out telling people to do this horrible stuff either. So should he have lost his career over it? Should Mac lose his whole career over this? Well, probably not. But it appears that Mac has just made some huge errors in judgment. Now, some of this stuff, Scotty, it's not for us to judge. The only thing we can judge, though, is the facts that we have. 4 weeks right now, he's away from the program. 4 of the most important weeks in the history of this football program, he's not around. Can he help from afar? I don't know. I don't think he's in a right headspace right now to be helping with anything. I think that's why he's taking a leave of absence. All right, Scotty, we're going to blow out a little early today, but I did want to talk about just a few games. Let's do a little Campus Confidential, and I do want to say thank you, C&B. Thank you, Central National Bank. You're the greatest. You're the greatest. Our presenting sponsor. Thank you, Ascension. I was talking to my buddy today. One of my local. I mean, that law firm, Cherry, Johnson, Siegmund, and James. In fact, Scotty, what I meant to do is send you the graphic today. Scott James just got named to like the Leon Jaworski, a Baylor Fellow program. it's a huge deal for people that are like great trial lawyers. And they're one of our great sponsors. And I just wanted to say, because Scott James, not only is he a longtime family friend, but he's a heck of a lawyer. And it was one of the few recruiting battles I won, Scotty, when I was trying to get people in my fraternity back in the day. I did win on him, lost several others, but that's okay. But Scott James, great young attorney, although he's only like 3 years younger than me, so he can't be that young. But Campus Confidential, we like to do it, Scotty, and we like to talk about some of these games. I would say that you and I, we'll give our Baylor Utah pick in a minute. We'll do that obviously on screen tomorrow on the Green and Gold pregame show that we'll be doing from right there in the shadows of the stadium. Scotty, the game tomorrow, there's a couple of games that have grabbed our attention. So tomorrow, Scotty, I'll be at A&M, South Carolina. I'll be there for a little bit of that game, and then I'll be jumping in the car to be in position to do our pregame show, and I'll be at Baylor, Utah that night. So it'll be a fun day. It'll be fun. It'll be kind of a busy day, but I mean, there are worse ways to spend your time. Tailgating with your freshman daughter in College Station, and then racing back to be at the Baylor game. And then obviously, Scotty, that's a very important news type situation post game. I mean, there'll be questions, and Dave won't want to answer them. But I mean, they don't have an AD anymore right now. They have interim people acting, so we need to be there to ask those questions. Yeah.
And by the way, you're going to do a tremendous job. You always seem to ask some of the best questions at those. But I think it might be prudent, given what we've already discussed about Coach Aranda today and the situation as you and I understand it. If someone like Jovan, who's one of the interim ADs, or someone in that comes out with Dave tomorrow and just flat out says up front, hey, coach, you're going to talk about the game. It wouldn't surprise me if they make some kind of move like that.
Oh, I don't see them doing that.
Pete's across the room and said, no way. So, what do I know? You two are way more experienced at this than me. He's not going to, it's like, you say he's not going to, what's he going to say? He's not going to say anything about this.
No, he might have said more than we realized the other day when he was like, no, that's an HR issue.
That's what I said, is that comment is now in a different light. It is. It is.
I got people joking that, Aranda was the one who, anyway, it's Dave's going to be, looks like Dave's going to be okay. And he, in a sense, you're right. He's kind of already, he's said as much as he's going to say. He'll probably just talk about the game. And here's the way it'll be asked. And maybe I'll formulate a question along these lines, but the way it'll be asked is like, with the events of this week, did you address it with your team? Right. And did you, how did you handle that? And he'll either say, yes, I didn't, or no, I didn't. He'll be candid. I mean, Dave is, the thing, and Pete, I think, would agree with this, is like, Dave's great with the media. It's just unfortunate that he's so opposed to using the media. The media is available to be used in so many ways. One of the great media guys to use the media was Parcells. I mean, he knew exactly how to use it and use it to his advantage and get the message out. And Dave, knowing that's and maybe somebody's trying to give him this advice, but it could help him so much. It doesn't have to be me, but even if he just had trusted somebody in the media, and this guy doesn't. It doesn't matter if it's Dellinger or Pete Thamel or Pete Sousa or Mosley or David. It does not matter. He's just and so in some ways you almost have to admire that. It's like, who's Dave's guy? Everybody's got a guy. And the answer would be no one. Say, well, what about this guy? What about this guy over at The Athletic? No one. Well, maybe somebody from LSU? No one. Because what he wanted to do at LSU is to stay in a dark room all the time. He's admitted that. That's just kind of who he is. But anyway, I really enjoyed talking to Pete earlier. That was good. That was fun, Scotty. And it sounds like he hadn't left. My gosh, you better watch it, or I'll jump him right back on screen. Now, Scotty, I do want to hear from you though on just a couple of games. The Bears, obviously in Utah, but the Horns going to Georgia between the hedges. It's interesting to me, like some of these games, these lines I don't understand. Like I honestly would take South Carolina to cover the 19.5 against A&M, but that Georgia, even with Texas being pretty much horrible, except against Vandy, but pretty bad all season on offense. Georgia does not play great defense, but Georgia has put up a lot of points on offense. Texas plays great defense, but I'm amazed that this is only Georgia by like 4.5 or 5.5, depending on where you look. Between the hedges. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is why Vegas pulls us off sides a lot of times, but I like Georgia to cover the 5.5 there, and I think this is a really tough spot for Arch. The only time he's played reasonably well against a good Oklahoma defense, played reasonably well against a decent Vandy defense. I do not like him in this spot. Against Georgia.
Well, and even though the game against Oklahoma is at a neutral site, like that stadium is still plenty full of Longhorns. Will not be the case, obviously, in Athens on Saturday. I've got 6.5, actually, is the line here. I'm looking at ESPN Bet. But I'll tell you what, Matt, I've been sounding the horn all season that Georgia's on fraud alert. These are probably my two most overrated teams in America going at it here. I don't think either of these teams. I think either of these teams would lose a first-round playoff game if either or both get in. I will go on the other side of you here. I think Georgia wins, but I bet Georgia wins by a field goal, and it's because of the home field advantage.
Okay, interesting. And Georgia has been in some battles. They obviously can't ever beat Alabama.
I can't get over the fact, I know we've talked about this. I can't get over the fact that they beat Auburn in large part because the referees jobbed a touchdown away from Auburn in the worst call I've seen in about 5 years in this sport. I can't get over it. So I don't trust Texas to get the win, but I don't trust Georgia to put them away.
All right, OU Alabama, in a major way, has my attention. I don't have much trust in Venables in a tough spot on the road in Tuscaloosa. You got to hand it to DeBoer. I mean, you got a bad early loss that, again, I don't think by the end of the season. Now, the thing we've learned, if in the playoff era, especially in the 4-team too, but now the 12-team, if you're going to lose early. And if you lose early enough, it doesn't even matter who you lose to. If you have a great enough schedule strength or strength of record the rest of the season, they'll just forget about it. They'll go, oh, wait, who'd y'all lose to?
Right.
And you're like, yeah, it's Florida State. And they're like, ugh. I mean, like, that's an awful loss, but they didn't hold it years ago against freaking Ohio State when we needed them to, when they lost to a bad Virginia Tech team in 2014. And, of course, that's the one Baylor fans can't ever get past. Oh, these things, we never do move on. That's our problem, Scotty. We hang on to these things too much. We have too much history with all these things. Oklahoma plays really good defense. Mateer has been up and down. I will say that last outing when OU went out and got him a good win, there was a point in the second half when he went like 14 for 18. He had one really good stretch, and he kind of reminded us of the Mateer earlier in the season. But give me Bama to cover. Give me Bama to cover. What is it now? It
has moved from 7.5 to 5.5 on ESPN Bet. I would also take Bama. I would also take Bama to cover. By the way, I think losing in week 1, regardless of opponent, is a little more forgivable than losing later in the season, regardless of opponent. The reality is, Bama has been really, I mean, you could argue, you'll hate this because I know you have an affection for the Aggies, but you could argue Bama's been, the third best team in football since week 2. You could make that. I probably wouldn't, but you can make that argument. Ty Simpson's been unbelievable. And I don't trust Mateer. He's too up and down. And this game's at Alabama. Alabama might win this by 2 touchdowns.
Wow. Okay. That would not totally shock me. This Notre Dame at Pitt is interesting to me because I think they've got Notre Dame by 12.5 is one of the last things I've seen. And that's Pitt. Pitt's sitting there at 22. I mean, obviously they're pretty good. Right now, Notre Dame, boy, the Vegas seems to love them. And they're obviously the committee just automatically loves them. I think maybe they could have 4 losses and the committee would be like, well, Notre Dame looks pretty good. Love their strength of record. But I kind of want to take Pitt here. It's kind of like, now when I get these big lines against good teams, now like South Carolina to me is not even as good as Pitt, right? But I still don't love A&M to completely separate and pull away from South Carolina. That's why I'm taking the Gamecocks to cover on the 19.5. You correct me if you've seen that line move, but that's the last thing I saw.
The ESPN bet.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and stay with 19.5.
I'll go. Listen, I'll go against you either way because the only thing that's kept South Carolina in some of these games is that Lenora Sellers is a top 5 quarterback in the sport. And one thing I really like about Texas A&M, other than my friend Ruben Owens playing running back for them, is that defensive front, man. That defensive line for A&M is unbelievable. And you and I both wish that Tarian York had been a Baylor Bear instead of an Aggie. They're gonna make Sellers work, and I think A&M could run away with it. Actually,
I like to hear someone else brag on the Aggies. Okay, so I don't
not
catch
bragging,
so much
just acknowledging the truth here.
Just love it. You have fallen for this team, and I knew it would happen eventually.
I'm a Hoosier, baby. Let's go.
I relate better to plus size head coaches, and
but Mosley, you look so thin.
Buddy, okay, 2 free sandwiches to Schmaltz's for you. By the way, we got to do some Schmaltz's. We got to do some major Schmaltz's trivia next week. All right,
we've been breaking too much news.
That's okay. We've had a lot of breaking news, but I want to take care of Nelson and that whole crew. I love that group over there. But Elko, I'm a guy who likes a hoodie too, and I don't know why. I don't know because here's the thing. Hoodies look better on people like you and Pete. Especially the fitted hoodie, the golf hoodie, you and Pete are way better suited for that. But those of us who like to keep a few extra pounds on in the winter, we love the hoodie for some reason. It's an odd thing because I don't know if the hoodie's our best look. But guys like Elko and Mosley will kind of gravitate to a hoodie. It's a strange thing. And I guarantee you, when I pack here in a minute, when I've got about 6 minutes to pack and head down the road, I'm going to be just grabbing every hoodie in my closet. So I don't know what that is. What's the best look for a plus size man? I think the black button down. I think when I kind of put that thing on, like I may do that for TV tomorrow. I think it's kind of like, oh, hey, Mosley's out there. He's been doing some walking. He's been fasting a little bit. But any kind of colorful or stripe type scheme, it's like, oh, gosh, Mosley's been hitting the cafeteria again. All right, Scotty, any other game you want to bring up before I have to hit the road here? I hate to leave our people in a pinch. I hate to leave them early. Yeah.
Let me run a couple by you. I think the most interesting one in the Big 12 is Arizona going to Cincinnati. It's a 5.5 point. Bearcats are favored. We know they've been great this year. We know they've been good at home, but they got whooped last week. And Arizona is that I still don't really know what to make of them. 6-3, but 5.5 for Cincinnati. Who do you take in that one?
Okay, wait. Where is this?
At Cincinnati.
Cincinnati by 5.5 with Fafita and the gang. You're right. Arizona's been kind of showing a little something. Somebody barked at us earlier this year for having that graphic that had Arizona's arrow pointed up. But I think, Scotty, you and I have been vindicated. You remember somebody's like, well, I do. Yeah. I think that was
Who did we have on that said that? Was that Shahan?
No, that was it was Grayson, who I really enjoyed having the young Groom.
Yeah, it was Grayson. That's right.
Yeah, but I think he was like, well, I don't think I'd do that. I shouldn't like try to do voices. I don't know how great. By the way, Grayson, great pickup basketball player. Do you think Pete's good at pickup basketball? Like when he was in his prime? Not to say he's not, but like I think your prime as a pickup basketball player.
So
if you take care of yourself, you are still in your prime as a pickup player, Scotty. If people can still be good into their early 30s if they
go
take care of
anytime.
themselves.
I'll show you what I've got. I'm pretty confident in myself in this department, actually. Maybe not against Grayson. Grayson sounds like a local legend, but I'm pretty confident in what I can do on a basketball court. Here's the thing about playing pickup basketball in Waco. If you've got a guy that's like 6'9", like Pete, he's going to be able to rebound, and that's good enough in a lot of pickup games. So I'll take Pete pickup basketball.
I wonder if Pete has a shot. I'd like to see this.
He's only like 6'11". I don't know.
I would lock you up like Davion Mitchell. You
would lock me up like that. Can we play one-on-one?
Oh my gosh!
Can we play a one-on-one game for like
101 is what you don't want. What you want is a team concept against me. What you want?
Are you scared to play me one-on-one?
You do not know. I'm not. What have I said that makes me sound scared? One-on-one is something.
It sounded like you said you need a team to like go against me, but I'm
willing
to take
I said I don't want. I don't want the team concept. Well,
okay, I'll take Pete on my team.
I like 3-on-3, and but here's the problem. Here's the issue. I have literally taken 15 years off after several injuries, and it would be very, very bad move to come back.
So we can't do one-on-one.
There was a day when you would have had a little bit of an issue getting by me. I promise you that. But that day has passed us. That day is long in the past. Could I bully ball you a little bit? Probably. But okay. What's the other one you were going to bring up? Because I really like to honor.
I just think if and this isn't a particularly compelling game, but I think if I were putting money on a game this weekend, it might be this one. North Carolina going to Wake Forest. What would you have that line at?
North Carolina at Wake, a team that
Wake Forest is like peaking right now too. They're playing really good football.
Yeah, I would tend to say Wake. Now I know where you're headed with this because it's going to be lower than I think, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that Wake should be favored by like 10 or something like that.
I think 10's a pretty good number. It's 6.5. It's 6.5. I think if I were putting money on a game this weekend, it might be on Wake.
I like the way this Tar Heel team is playing. I like what Belichick is doing. And
you're buying into Belichick.
I think Jordan Hudson has done some good things lately. Oh, somebody likes us. That's great.
Bobby V says you're looking thin.
Considerably.
He's working for some Schmaltz.
I don't know. Lately, looking thin hasn't helped some people. So I may need to just stay. I may just need to stay a little thick. I like thick, like THICC.
Oh, that's the only way to spell it.
Sometimes I see people spell things the wrong way, but it's almost like it feels like it's the right way, like thick or things like that. I like these I'll tell you what I like. I like I like to see like ball games where all the elementary kids are having a big time. And lately, I saw one the other night. There was a college game, and they must have been like elementary school night or whatever, Scotty. And the game ended up, one of the teams got to 6-7, and I still don't know what that means. I don't have a good feel for that. But the elation and the excitement of kids ranging from probably first to sixth grade, I just thought that's fun. I want kids to have that. And so that's kind of how I'd like to sign off today. I would love for a Baylor basketball game. Do they do the scream game still?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to show up and see the Bears get it to that point, and then see that type of reaction. And then someday I'd like Lizzie or someone to come on and explain that to me, like why that is funny. Like even my buddy Blair Browning, as the MC at Pigskin the other night, made a 6-7 joke. And I don't even know if he knew why. I mean, people laughed and liked it, but I don't know. Like Blair and I are in an age range where we're far removed from understanding what that means. Scotty, I want you to have a tremendous weekend. Some of it will be with me there in Waco. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm looking, Scotty, I've got right now, what's call time, by the way? I've not been able to review your instructions yet. What's call time for me, would you say? And I need you to be a little lenient tomorrow. Give me
why don't you show up with the whole crew and you could work crew for the first hour? I
don't know what that means, but tell me, what time do you need me on, like standing near a desk? You think
I would
by
appreciate
3:30?
What did you say, 3:30?
Yeah.
I think that's what I was about to say. I think that would be good.
Okay. See you at 4:15, buddy. I don't know why that just Scotty gets very tired of my jokes, but for some reason that amuses me to worry Scotty, even though it really doesn't worry him. Have I shown up late to something in my life? I have. Have I forgotten about a big event in life? Absolutely. Perhaps in the last week. Will I be on that TV screen for all the KWTX to see? And I don't know if we're even on that tomorrow. Will I be on there at 4:00 straight up with Faith Lynch? The answer is yes. Scotty, I'll leave our folks with this week. Be kind. I cannot help but think of what the Cowboys organization is going through. And I can't help but think, and by the way, Brazos Landing, love you guys. I talked to the Lindsays. You talk about be kind. These are my people. And I love eating there. I love going there. And if I were Pete, I'd be like, if I finally leave the studio today, I don't know. I have no clue what Pete works on up there. But if I ever left the studio, I would like go and get a BLT. I just say, can I please have a BLT? And can I have an Arnold Palmer? And can I just sit here out on the river? And I don't need anybody to come out here. I may just need to be on my own for a little bit, but I just want to sit out here and look at the water because it's a pretty day. That's what Pete, if I were Pete, that's what I would do with the rest of my afternoon. So anyway, Pete, golly, getting to go do an Iowa State game, is that not huge? I mean, and the other team they were playing, I can't remember right now, is like a big time team, but getting sent out to the Pentagon, now that is a great assignment. Pete like somehow, ends up at Peacock and ESPN. I mean, do the others know about each other? All right. So I want everybody, but yes, be kind. And I thought Solomon Thomas yesterday, is listening to him talk about the aftermath of losing Marshawn Nealon. It's like, there's no therapist in the country. There's no pastor. There's not a single person that could have had a better message than that guy for the Dallas Cowboys, Solomon Thomas, speaking to reporters. And I heard people out there saying, why are y'all bothering the players at a time like this? Guys, the Cowboys, the Cowboys are very, very popular, and they made them available to the media. The media is going to go out there and talk to them. This is a huge story. All right. I get what you're saying, but I just thought that Dak Prescott, we sometimes forget that these are people, and we just are like, oh, we hate this team, or we hate Jerry, or we hate this. And man, these are people who are hurting. And this is a time to maybe have a little bit of empathy. And that doesn't mean you can't sit down and get mad at the team and get mad when they throw an interception or do something like that. That's fine. That's what we do. But I just can't help but think, as we leave it with you this week, of the hurting that's taking place, not only the organization, but mainly Marshawn Nealon's family and his girlfriend in particular, and just and a child on the way, I might add. And I know people are going to take care of that child. And I saw some kind of fund that was going to that child for his college fund, that kind of thing. But it's a tough deal. But it just reminds us, even with this whole Mack Road story, I some of the stuff I've gotten today, I think our tendency sometimes is to be like, oh my gosh, How does this person get caught up in this? How does he? Well, the same reason it could happen to any of us. The same, and it's this human condition that we have that we all fall short, and we're just, doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what it is. And to a lot of us, it happens to us every single day. It may not be as dramatic, and it may not be out there on a platform, but just be a little careful, because not all of us have as huge a platform as Mac had. And so I've even been a little bit too strident, I think, in some of my commentary over the last couple of days. But I have this thought right now of, hey, this guy's hurting, and his career may have ended at Baylor, but that doesn't mean we can't reach out to him or pray for him and whoever else is involved in this current situation. All right. Appreciate that. Love being with our audience. Love the Twitter audience that's come in. Pete obviously brings big numbers into us, so that's very kind of him. And so I want to send Pete home. I want to send Scotty off into having a wonderful weekend, and catch Scotty tomorrow on the Green and Gold pregame on YouTube edition, and that will start at 3:00. Scotty will do his portion. There'll be all kinds of interviews. I bet Ganaway will be involved. Pete will be involved. But Scotty at 3, Mosley and Faith join up at 4, and then we'll get you ready for the ball game tomorrow as the Bears and the Utes get it on in Waco. Everybody have a tremendous weekend, and we will see you Monday at 1:00